I mean, the riot one had 700 cops going at it.
I like that.
That wasn't that bad. the stuff I...
We're going to have to cut that out and use it for the intro. That wasn't that bad.
Hey guys, this is Andre Touchy Feely. You listen to the Verbal Scrap Podcast. Let's get weird.
This is the Shark, Anthony Avila. You listen to Verbal Scrap.
This is Justin the Raw Deal Basement. You listen to Verbal Scrap.
This is Nan Fan, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast. I'm a fighter. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to fight.
Hey, this is Dave Hirschbein, MMA Gold, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap.
I've worked so hard to do what I got to do in here. I took so much blood for this sport. I took so much pain, everything for the sport.
Hey, y'all, this is Zeke Johnston. You're listening to SRMMA.com Verbal Scrap. Stay tuned. They got some good stuff coming up.
It's Jay Watt here on the Verbal Scrap Podcast. We're talking to Gary Shurley, a man who has been around in so many parts of the business, refereeing, promoting, matchmaking. Not even sure how to introduce you properly, but we're talking to Gary Shurley. You're going to be putting on an event on October. How are you doing today, my friend?
Doing really good, John. I'm glad I could make it out here. Yeah, October 19th is Saturday. Jackson Sports Academy. A lot of people know where it is. West Coast had a couple of good fights out there. We're putting together a really great card of top scrap and MMA guys, all amateur. And we got some guys like Thomas Fallon that's been around. This kid is going to go toe-to-toe with a guy named Ali Arfa. They're both Muay Thai guys. They don't want to take it to the ground. They want a 3-minute rounds. As many rounds they get, they want to scrap till somebody gets knocked out. And they're both tough.
Well, as far as I know, Fallon's actually going to be dropping down to light heavyweight for this one, correct?
205 for the 205 stand-up fighters belt.
Now, he was saying, it was been interesting for him. He's been happy to lose the weight. He said he's having a good time. But I was interested. He's also your amateur heavyweight champion. Does that mean he's going to be vacating that title, or is he also going to be going to hold titles in separate divisions?
This is also amateur fighters. We have Dogs of War. Then we have also stand-up fighters. That's what my license is under. Stand-up fighters. I got badge versus badge, law enforcement, MMA, and boxing. But Thomas, I believe after this, might go pro.
After this will be a 4-0 after this fight, correct?
I think it's like 5-0.
5-0. So as far as the 19th is concerned, what about Thomas? The matchup with him wanted you to be that. What had the main event pull for you?
Well, Thomas wanted a tough guy. When I make matches, I don't just sit on my ass on the phone. I go to the gyms. I track you down. I don't care how far I got to go. Stockton, Fresno. So he said, I want a guy, stand-up guy, tough, that knows MMA, jiu-jitsu. Ali Arfa is a badass, okay? He is a badass. He's out of Auburn Martial Arts with Dan Lois, but he's been around. Dave, my son, had sparred him in the boxing ring years and years ago. He said he's tough, man. Thomas and him, this is going to be a scrap. Toe-to-toe.
Well, I had a few things more about MMA and stuff like that, but I wanted to get to know you for our fans that may not have an idea as to Gary Shurley.
You just have to go on
What's more of your background? You've done a lot of things. You've obviously been involved in refereeing, matchmaking, promoting. I mean, where do you come from? What's your love for the sport?
Well, my love for the sport is just out of the Bay Area, and I have a lot of friends. We did martial arts, boxing, we did a lot of run around. We've seen it evolve over the years. Boxing is my first passion, and then my first martial arts I ever did when my dad took me to judo when I was very young. My dad spent time in, he's a Korean vet, then was stationed a little time in Japan, and he kind of picked it up there. When he came back to the States, he didn't put my brothers into it, because my brothers want to do Boy Scouts, and I was too wild, so he put me in judo, and I'd never been so scared a day in my life. Those guys did not speak English at the time. They're short, mean, and damn.
And they weren't Boy Scouts.
No, they weren't Boy Scouts.
Well, since you say your first love is boxing, I assume you're still into the sport pretty heavily, as much as possible.
Yeah.
Big fight everyone's talking about, Canelo, Floyd. What do you think about the matchup of those two guys, both with their records and what they've been able to do in the sport?
I think Floyd will take it.
You think Money Mayweather is as legit as everyone says? I mean, some people do say he has a little padded record. I think he's been able to showcase his skills in every fight. What do you think of it?
I think it's going to be a tough fight for him. I still think the money's on Mayweather. I think he's going to try to come out a little harder on this one, not take so much time like he did with the Ghost, which is the Ghost is somebody that we know we're very familiar with the Ghost and his family, because when my oldest son and I and all the California team, the Ghost is part of it. We traveled the countryside from here to New York, did a lot of international, national tournaments, and the Ghost is top of his game. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people have been making the arguments between boxing, MMA, the downfall of boxing, the rise of
not
MMA.
true.
Where do you think the both sports stand today?
Okay, if you want the truth is that you give me a good boxer, you get a kid that starts out at 8. By the time he goes pro, he has about 100 fights. Easy. He's got national. He's fighting for belts. He's fighting for ranking. They don't really fight for belts. They fight for points to make the Olympic sports. Now you have a lot of MMA guys. MMA is a little different. You have a lot more people joining for MMA. I'm not saying it's easier, but you have a lot of guys at different levels just jumping in. You got your wrestlers now that kind of dominate amateurs because what they do, they learn just enough to survive getting punched. No disrespect to wrestlers. And the stuff they would teach wrestlers is, on fouls and stuff. Now these guys can do those things that they want. But my sons wrestle too, so I got a love for wrestling too. But they come in, they hold a guy, and they grind him out a little bit, and they get positioned to do a ground and pound, And so they dominate it now a little bit, but you're going to see over time people are going to get sharp and start doing some other stuff, just like when they had to figure out how to beat Gracie.
Yeah, when they originally had to get past the jits.
But that boxing is not dead. What's the problem with boxing is that there's been so many gyms that have closed, and I see more and more people fighting out of their garage. Coaches open up their homes and letting young guys come in and people train. But boxing is not dead. It's a tough, tough sport. There's no way it's dead.
Well, we're talking to Gary Shurley here on the Verbal Scrap podcast. I wanted to get your perspective on boxing since you said you're so into it, about Olympic boxing. It's a lot different than most of the boxing you see on TV. What do you think about the point system and the way they score Olympic boxing?
Well, I think it favors, like the Cubans, the Europeans. I mean, the thing with the American boxers, they have to do the Olympic-style boxing, the point fighting. But when we're training in a gym, we have our young amateurs. In the gym, just like MMA, you have your pros and you have your amateurs. Mm-hmm. And you have a lot of amateurs that just wipe through the pros, so they pick up that pro style, And so, they're fancy. They got some guys like Andre Ward. He's the master.
Yeah.
My son fought him twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but close fights both times. We had a little rivalry. Great guys out of Oakland, but
Bay Area loves Andre Ward. You can't go wrong with that.
We go to King's Gym. We train sometimes down there. It's a great gym. Just don't walk in and put your bag anywhere, though. No, I'm not kidding you. You better know where you put your bag or you get catch hell. But I think that, we had some better training camps. The thing is, you get these guys out of the gym, and then they go to training camp for a month or whatever, and they have to pick up the point system, all that. They're not really used to it. But when you go with the Europeans and stuff, well, they get these guys. That's all they do. They take them out of school, and they spend the next 4 years just competing and training to beat our asses.
Facing them off of each other. Well, I wanted to get back to what you're doing on the 19th. What other amateur fighters do you feel like are going to be on your Hux card that people should look out for? I mean, what kind of matchups are you looking at? What are you trying to do for the October 19th fight card as a whole?
Well, what I like to do is I'm looking for new blood. I'm looking for guys. I'm going gym to gym. And, of course, I want a variety of people. I'm looking for scrappers. I'm putting it out. Look, if you're MMA, be MMA. Do a takedown. But for the love of God, get up and scrap a little bit. Let's bring it on. Let's give the people what they pay for. Don't lay down on the ground and wrestle like that because you won't fight for me again. You know what I mean? If you're not ready to fight, then don't sign up. I mean, in 2 weeks, Rocky Reyes and myself, God, we had made 18 fights. That doesn't mean we can't do 18 fights. So we're still piecing it together. We have a full card. But I'm never satisfied. When I have to go to gyms, I have to look at them. But we just picked up
and
two
fights
girls.
fall out all the time, right?
Huh?
Fights always fall out, so you got to keep lining up fights if possible.
Not for me.
Not for Gary.
No, because I do my homework. I check on the guys, check on their weight. And I want to meet them because I want to look in their eyes, Chico. Because I know when I look in their eyes if they're going to make that fight or not. And the coaches, if I know the coaches, most of my relationship with the coaches and the fighters, and if they say they're going to make it, I don't have the problems a lot of people do. It's because I take the time to do the research and to meet everybody.
As far as locally, there's been a big push for the females into the fight scene.
Yes.
What do you think about the way that some of the females lately have been able to compete inside the cage? And they've been actually bringing a big draw for fight fans.
I tell you, I saw one of the toughest fights I ever saw was Debbie Lois And Donna I think she got Garza. It was Castro at one time. I think she got married.
Yeah, that threw me off too at one fight. Yeah,
I'm telling you, that was the fight of the night at King of the Cage. Wow. They just all out, just toe to toe, grappling, kicking, getting up. Donna took some hard kicks. She got a side kick, knocked her back 6 feet, got air. There's a photo of her taking air. But then Donna got up and just putting left, right on Debbie and taking her down. It was a scrap up to the last 2 seconds when Donna was sinking in the armbar. 2 seconds ago, Debbie made it. It was a great fight. The girls, the athletes, are phenomenal. They really bring it on.
And do you feel like that they get the fair amount of respect they should? Do you still feel like they still have to go extra hard inside the cage to get that respect? Or do you feel like it's going pretty fair right now?
It really depends on their training and the sports they may have done at a younger age and the coaching. But, yeah, I think the girls really are getting more respect now than they have in the past, yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you once again about October 19th. Going to be at the Jackson Sports Academy, like you said. Great venue. Do you have anything planned as far as festivities for the fans? What's the night looking like?
You know the coach always brings out the crap, man. Yeah, I got a couple pretty ring girls for you, Johnny.
Hey, can't wait.
Yeah.
We'll get the photos.
Yeah, well, I'm putting them right next to you. So if anybody wants to know, you can go to Badge vs. Badge website. It's Saturday, October 19th, Jackson Sports Academy, 5209 Luce Avenue, McCullen Air Force Base. We're going to have a bike show, hopefully, early during the day. Dave will be running that. But we do have some heavy hitters. We've got 15 fights. We also are going to have a special presentation for the Man of the Year Award will be presented to Tony Tiger Lopez.
Oh, fantastic.
And it'll be a special announcement. It'll be Channel 3 and 10 News there. Probably CNN will be there because this announcement will be brought out with Tony when he gets the award in the future of Tony Tiger Lopez. We just have to see what he has to say.
And you only find that out October 19th.
Absolutely. When either you or me put the mic to him after he gets the award, yeah.
Well, as far as the night is concerned, how many fights are you guys looking to put on?
15 fights, but I'll tell you what we do. I also work for the Roseville Power. We're doing a raffle. We have we have Max Griffin going to sign a pair of gloves. We're gonna raffle those off. We got Dave Huckaba sign a pair of MMA gloves. We're gonna raffle those off. We got Mark Matthews. We've got Warpath when he retired. The older guy, Tank Abbott.
Oh yeah, Tank.
He's got the shorts with Tank's blood on the gloves. Fairtex. We're raffling off about there's two UFC guys that are going to raffle. We got 8 gloves we're going to raffle off, and a pair of Tony the Tiger Reyes gloves signed by Tony. So when you walk in, we're hoping to generate money for the Pal.
And those aren't even the fights. You haven't even got to the good parts, right?
No. So we got other things happening.
What time do the festivities kick off, by the way?
Well, for me, being like a cold beer, I don't drink when I'm working, though. We're going to open up at 4. Usually, the people stand outside anyway, so hell, let them in. I don't know why people make them wait. That's stupid. You guys get there at 4, it starts at 5, but get there at 4. The fights start right at 7. Come in, we got great food, beer, drinks, and a lot of pretty ring girls, and we've got like 15 bartenders, just as pretty as the ring girls.
You can swap them out, right?
Yeah, what the hell.
Well, I wanted to get a few of your thoughts since you've been around the fight game. What do you think about the way that the UFC has been building the brand? They got so many fights now. They're putting fights on Wednesday nights, Saturday nights, 2 fights in a week. Do you feel like overall it's good for the sport? Do you feel like there's a saturation of the sport? I mean, where do you feel like MMA lies right now?
Well, I enjoy MMA when I watch it. A lot of people say, hey, did you see that fight? Oh, no. I don't watch a lot of fights because I do so much stuff. And people go, Gary, I don't spend my day in front of a computer on Facebook, and I don't just sit there all weekend worrying about a fight. Usually I'm out and about with friends and family and doing other things. I guess I'm an old cowboy, and I like to do different things. Like maybe fishing, stuff like that.
It's things that people used to do?
Yeah, we used to do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Play a little racquetball, whatever. Just hang out, man, with the guys.
So when you don't put on as many events as some other people do, but when you do put on an event, it's really high notch, high quality. What are you looking for when you put on these events?
Good fights.
Number one, first and foremost, good fights.
I don't go by ticket sales. I go by the fighter. I go by what he can accomplish, what he can do, and like to give everybody a fair shake. And as far as I don't do as many fights like last year because I tried to spend time with my dad. He's getting older, and we spend a lot of time together. But now he's doing real well, and I'm going to do a fight every 3 months. Badge, I'm going to do long. I'm coming back back for badge versus badge, all law enforcement. So the guys out there want to box and do MMA, it's time to sign up because we're going to just get it on.
For people that want to, for fighters that are interested in getting involved with your events, where do they
Johnny.
go? It's okay.
Made me nervous.
It's silky
don't
smooth.
wink at me, John, when I'm on this damn thing,
I was thinking about those ring girls you were talking about. Sorry. For the fighters that they haven't gotten in contact with you, but if they were be interested in fighting on the Hucks, badge versus badge, what do they got to do to first let you know that they exist and show you that they're ready for a card like yours?
Well, a lot of times, I have open gym. They just have to call me at 916-532-7064. They can come in, and we have people that are training right now. My son's down there training. A couple of guys. One's a cop. I think there's a guy out of Dave's gym. A bunch of guys down there. The gym's open as long as they clear with the lieutenant. It's open gym. They can spar, roll. There's no charge for people coming down to roll at the gym. We have a lot of people who's probably come through that gym.
And where exactly are you located?
Powell. But they have to call me. They just can't walk in. It's a private gym. Yeah.
Is there a place like a website or anything that they can go and look at anything?
They go to badge versus badge. Just grab my number. Text me. Most people know me. Just say, hey, look, I'm so-and-so. I heard I could come through. Can you check me out? What do you think? And we'll work with you. We'll work with anybody.
So, many events, I'll see you around doing different things. How have you grown yourself to be so entangled in the fight business? And what are all the different hats that you do end up wearing when you're doing all these events?
Well, I met at Jackson Sports Academy. I was approached by the owner to help him with events. So that's why people saw me over there with West Coast. But I do other events with the owner. He does girls volleyball. They do basketball. So having a background working with kids out of the PAL and doing a lot of sports events. And so I worked with the owner doing that. So a lot of people saw me, and they were wondering, what the hell is Gary doing here? Well, Brandon actually hired me to help him. And Brandon he left, and I guess there's some kind of stuff a lot of crap going on out there, but there was no problem between me and Mr. Ware. He's still back there on November 16th, and I'll be there, but I'm not working with Brandon. I only have time for to do the stuff for the Jackson Sports Academy.
Well, Huck's Dogs of War is included with the Dave Huckabee name. What do you think about the way he's been able to go about keeping his career going, moving on, signing bigger, better contracts, and his recent fight against Ray Sefo? Big, huge knockout. I mean, what do you think about how Dave's doing in the sport?
Dave's a badass, man.
He is the bad man, I hear.
He's a badass. Every time he tells me, man, I'm going against a good striker. I said, Dave, wait till you put hands on him. They're going to be backing up, which happened. I was there for that fight. Dave put him to sleep.
Well, I mean, what? So since you were there, I mean, what was the atmosphere for you? What was it like just watching that?
I'll tell you what. Dave was the third fight. There's a main event, some co-main events. That place is packed when Dave came out there. I mean, you couldn't hear yourself think. The crowd went wild. As soon as the fight was over, and there was a long space there, you could drop a pin and hear it. I mean, it just really was funny. The main events, everything was just like...
pretty low-key?
Real low-key.
But Dave Sefo was a big fight for everybody in attendance.
Should have been the main event. It was the main event.
It could have been,
It was the main event, no matter what they say. And no disrespect to other fighters that fought, but whoever put the card together should have known what kind of Ray Sefo and Dave Huckabee would bring to the cage. Yeah.
Well, before we let you go, I wanted to get what would be an interesting story, since you have a wealth of stories. What's one of the crazier events that you've been involved with, as far as maybe a ref, as a matchmaker? What's something that's just gone down that even might have blown Gary Shurley's mind a bit?
I mean, the riot one had 700 cops going at it.
I like that.
That wasn't that bad. the stuff
we're gonna have to cut that out and use it for the intro. That wasn't that bad.
I have a lot of stories. Some I just.
But you only need one for this one.
Well, I'll give you one story. This is how I roll my life. I like to hit the streets, have fun.
That's where all the fun is.
Well, it's serious stuff sometimes, and I get myself in a lot of trouble, but fun trouble, whatever. I live a different lifestyle, that's for sure. I just say what I want and do what I want, and people just don't like it. I could give a damn. But my son and I, we have a weird relationship. He's stubborn as me. He's at the gym training right now because I don't want to be around the son of a bitch. No, really, because he trains different than I train. We argue, so I can't be around him. We happened to be out the other day. We called you because no one would believe it. We were out, and he and I just argue. He says white, I say black. Boom, boom, boom. So I said, you know what? This isn't going to work. I tell you what. So we went to go look at cars, hang out, and I said, you know what? He goes, man, this is a car I want. Save a little money, a Prius, this and that. He says, I get one for $12,000. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. 24 hours you spend with me. I won't be rude, obnoxious. Hang out with me 24 hours. Take me anywhere I want. We're going to need someone to come along. If you can hold your mud and not be disrespectful, I'll give you $12,000.
Car your dreams.
Okay,
Done deal.
but if you lose, because he says, I'll make it to the big time one day, whatever that is, UFC, who knows. When they ask him a question, you have to say, I owe everything to my father, who taught me everything, is the best man in the world. You got to say that. That was the bet.
On national TV.
Absolutely. And we called you because no one would believe it. But we had a family emergency in the middle of it because he was close to breaking Johnny. After 3 hours, I had them. I had him, Johnny. He was ready to just bust open. Can you imagine 12 ground? Anybody can handle it. But not this
24
kid.
hours.
I get under his skin. So when you get a day off, John, I hope you got a lot of energy because I'll run you both into the ground. We're going to go from here to the city to L.A. 24 hours if you guys can hang with me. You too will bust. But I want you to tape it because you're going to see this tough kid. He's so tough. He's going to crumble like a Girl Scout.
Well, before we let you get out of here, I wanted to know, who are some of the people that you would give thanks to, you know, people you'd like to give shout-outs, maybe credit to before we let you out?
Shout out is the guys that work with me. I don't have a big team. Shout out would go to my wife. Oh, my God, my wife is sharp, man. She knows more about the fight business, Lorraine Shurley, beautiful Puerto Rican woman, than anybody in the business. You'd be surprised. She knows who's supposed to be in and out, very polite. Big shout out to Rocky Reyes. I hired him as my matchmaker, doing a hell of a job. He's tough and mean. He argues with me. I like that. And shout out all the guys that support me and all the young guys that I've seen over the years that have helped out through the gym. And remember who I am. I mean, MMA, they'll forget me. But the kids that used to fight me boxing when they're 8, now they're older and have kids, they remember me. That's what means a lot to me. The MMA, it's here. I'm here and gone tomorrow.
Comes and goes.
Yeah, what the hell. For those young men, you know, I helped them out.
The relationships you build, those are most important.
Yeah.
Well, October 19th, where can fans get tickets when they're available? Where
You
can
go to
fans
Badge
find
versus
information?
Badget. You go to Facebook. Everybody has tickets. I tell you what, if you want tickets, just give a call. There'll be plenty of tickets available at the venue at 4 o'clock. Just come on in. It's a family atmosphere. You're going to have a lot of fun. We're doing raffles. We're going to see a lot of special announcements. And just know 2014, man, I'm going to rain hell on Sacramento. And
Big
have
year
fun.
for Gary Shurley.
Hell yeah, I'm going to pull all those stops. I'm really going to go to work.
Well, you know you can check out SRMMA.com for all the pre-fight, post-fight coverage. We'll definitely be there supporting Badge vs. Badge, Huck's Dogs of War. And you've been listening to Gary Shurley on the Verbal Scrap Podcast. Like he said, hit up the website, hit up Facebook for tickets. Check us out anytime at SRMMA. Follow us at SRMMA Tweets. One more thing for you, Gary.
Always, because a lot of people don't know this. My beautiful mother from Nicaragua, Hispanic, but always for La Raza.